All right, today we are going on a pretty incredible journey, following a single dose of medicine as it travels through the human body. We're going to be diving into the science of pharmacokinetics, which is really just a fancy way of asking a simple question: what does your body actually do with the medicine you take?
I mean, think about it. You pop a pill for a headache, and a little while later, the pain is gone. But what happens in between? That simple question opens up a fascinating and surprisingly complex obstacle course inside your own body, a journey that literally determines whether that medicine works at all.
And that's the core of this whole field, pharmacokinetics. It's all about tracking a drug through 4 key stages. You can remember it with the acronym ADME: absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination. Or, even simpler, getting in, moving around, breaking it down, and getting it out. So let's start at the very beginning.
First up, we've got absorption. This is all about how that drug gets from the outside world into your bloodstream. And as you're about to see, the route it takes makes all the difference. So when you swallow a pill, it faces this immediate and massive challenge. After it gets absorbed from your gut, it doesn't just go straight into your general circulation. No, its first stop is a mandatory detour directly to the liver. And this is a really critical first hurdle.
And here's why that detour is such a big deal. It's called the first pass effect. Your liver basically acts like a bouncer at a club. It metabolizes or breaks down a big chunk of that drug before it ever gets a chance to reach the rest of your body. This can absolutely decimate the amount of active medicine that makes it into your system.
Now this table really puts it all into perspective. Just look at the column for bioavailability. That's the percentage of the drug that actually makes it into your blood. If you get an IV drip, boom, 100%. It completely skips that liver bouncer. But taking a pill, it can be as low as 5%. That means 95% of the drug could be gone before it even starts its job. Wild, right?
Okay, so let's say our drug survived the liver's first pass and made it into the bloodstream. Great, but where does it go now? Well, that brings us to stage 2, distribution.
To make sense of this, scientists use a pretty simple model. They basically think of your body as having 2 main compartments. First, you've got the central compartment. This is like the express highway. Organs with tons of blood flow, like your heart, your brain, they get the drug almost immediately. Then you have the peripheral compartment, your muscles, your fat. Think of these as the slow country roads. The drug gets there, but it takes a lot longer.
So how do we measure this spread? We use this concept called the volume of distribution, or VD for short. Now this can be a little confusing. It's not a real physical volume. It's more like a theoretical score that tells us whether a drug prefers to just hang out in the blood or if it's a real traveler that spreads far and wide into all the body's tissues. And this slide breaks it down perfectly. A drug with a small VD is usually water-soluble. It's a homebody. It pretty much stays contained in the blood. But a drug with a large VD, that one's an adventurer. It's probably fat-soluble or lipophilic, and it quickly leaves the blood to go set up camp in your tissues, like fat and muscle.
Okay, this is a fantastic point because it busts a really common myth. You might have heard that if a drug gets kicked off a protein it's riding on in the blood, the new free drug will cause this huge sudden effect. But the body is way too smart for that. It's an open system. It just sees that extra free drug and eliminates it, and the levels go right back to normal.
Now for stage 3. The drug has been absorbed, it's been distributed, it's done its job. Now it's time for the cleanup crew to come in. This is metabolism.
So, here's the main point of metabolism. Your kidneys are absolute champs at getting rid of anything that's water-soluble. But remember all those fat-soluble drugs that love to travel into the tissues? Well, they can get stuck. The liver's primary job here is to chemically transform those drugs, making them water-soluble so the kidneys can finally grab them and show them the exit.
And the liver does this in a really cool 2-step process. In phase 1, it makes some chemical changes to make the drug a little more water-friendly. But then, in phase 2, it does something brilliant. It basically attaches a big water-soluble molecule to the drug. It's like slapping a giant kick-me-out sign on it that the kidneys can't possibly miss. And who's doing all this incredible chemical work? It's a superstar family of enzymes called cytochrome P450. You can think of them as the liver's metabolic machinery. Just a handful of these enzymes do almost all the heavy lifting. But here is the absolute kicker, and I want you to remember this. Tiny genetic differences in these enzymes from one person to the next can cause massive, massive differences in how a drug works. We are definitely coming back to this.
This leads us perfectly into the grand finale of our drug's journey, elimination. Once the drug is used up and properly metabolized, the body has to get rid of it for good.
The key concept here is the elimination half-life. It sounds technical, but it's super simple. It's just the amount of time it takes for your body to get rid of half the drug in your system. This is what doctors use to figure out if you need to take a medicine every 4 hours or just once a day.
And here's a great little rule of thumb. After 1 half-life, 50% of the drug is gone. After 2, you're at 75%. By the time you get to about 5 half-lives, over 96% of the drug is gone, and for all practical purposes, your system is clear.
So, we've covered absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination. We've seen the whole 4-part journey. Now, let's put it all together to understand the single most important takeaway from all of this: why medicine is never one size fits all.
Because here's the thing. Every single one of those steps we just talked about can be different depending on who you are, your age, your overall health, and most powerfully of all, your personal genetic code. They all combine to create your unique drug response profile.
Remember that CYP2D6 enzyme I told you to keep in mind? This is why it's so important. It gets deeply personal. Just look at this chart. A pretty significant chunk of people in different populations are what we call poor metabolizers. That means their version of this critical enzyme just runs really, really slowly, and that has huge consequences.
And there's no better example than the painkiller codeine. See, codeine itself doesn't do anything. It's a prodrug. It relies on that CYP2D6 enzyme to convert it into morphine, which is what actually provides pain relief. So if you're a poor metabolizer, you take codeine and you get little to no pain relief. But if you're an ultra-rapid metabolizer, your body converts it so quickly that a standard dose can create dangerously toxic levels of morphine. It's the exact same pill, but with 2 completely different and potentially very dangerous outcomes.
And all of this brings us to one final, really powerful question. As our understanding of our own genetics gets better and better, we're moving away from this one-size-fits-all approach to medicine. The future isn't just about finding new drugs. It's about finding the right drug at the right dose based on your own personal, unique genetic blueprint.